Indiana groans. Garden turns into Temple of Doom as Pacers deal Knicks' worst loss of the season. You guys saw the back page. We got to break down what happened at the Garden last night with Alex Trataros, Knicks Fan TV. Alex, you got the Garden right there behind you. Like, what is it still burning from what the Pacers did to these boys last night? Let's get straight into this because how does a team that is 15-point home favorites lose to a team that's 3-22 on the road and the worst team in the East? I need you to make it make sense. You saw the back page. Was this the Knicks' worst loss of the season?
It's hard to make anything make sense when it comes to the Indiana Pacers, Brandon. It's just like anytime these two teams face off, we just know the history. It's weird gameplay, weird endings. There's nothing that makes any sense. I mean, look at it last night. All the turnovers, and yet we still get an overtime game. It just never makes any sense between the Pacers. But this wasn't the worst loss of the season. I think the worst loss of the season came between when the Knicks faced the Kings on their West Coast trip. I think that was like one of the worst games. And just, how they were playing during that 9 game, when they lost 9 of the 11 games during the beginning month of January. But look, what happened last night was a lack of effort on defense. I mean, we're talking about literally the worst team in the Eastern Conference coming into your own building and just playing down to the competition. Now, at the same time, while the Knicks did play down to their competition, the Pacers just know how to get to the Knicks' weaknesses easily. I mean, we've seen this team through 2 postseasons led by Tyrese Halliburton, that they just know how to shapeshift the defense, the Knicks defense that is, get what they want on the court and just create openings, man, just to attack. And you even saw last night where they kept Jalen Brunson in a blender, just making him constantly work through screens, making him exhausted. And that's why when you watch him, yeah, he has the numbers. He had the 40-point outing last night. He had about 8 assists. But when you watch as the time wore on, he got exhausted, man. And so that's why he was falling short when he was trying to take those threes to seal the game last night. So the Pacers just know how to get to the Knicks' weaknesses on the regular. And it's just a frustrating game, man, especially when it's one of the worst teams of the Eastern Conference, and while you're still trying to position yourself to secure the second spot in the Eastern Conference.
There was a lot of hype going into this game as well, and I'm looking at it as one of those pushover games, and it's like the perfect situation for Jose Alvarado to make his MSG debut. You're supposed, as a Knick, like, I'm thinking Nick's going to be blowing them out. He's going to get some time here and there, but then towards like the garbage minutes at the end, he was really going to run the court up. Instead, 4 points, 5 assists. I need you to rate or grade Alvarado's debut. Do you feel like it was overly hyped?
I'll give it a C just because I thought he did have some, nice defensive moments. I thought he did do a decent enough job trying to get the guys into their offensive flow. But the thing is, Brandon, is that where you look at where his strength is, which is being a defensive pest, guarding 94 feet, replacing Deuce McBride and giving him the same type of effort that Deuce would give on the court. It's difficult when you only have one guy playing defense and not your entire 5. So while as an individual, you could say, hey, he did a decent job. I mean, look, the Garden got hyped when he stripped Pascal Siakam and almost got the turnover, right? And just diving for the loose basketball. But you can't look at this in isolation saying, oh, he didn't do enough, because the other 4 guys on the court didn't do enough. Defense is a team effort, man. You can have one good defensive player, but if the other 4 guys are not giving you that same effort and holding themselves accountable in what the defensive scheme is, then it's just going to look worse for that individual that you're honing in on. But for Alvarado, man, it's a C. You want to see what he did against the Celtics, give you those 15 points and get some assists here tonight against the Pacers, but overall, not a great outing for him. He got the TJ McConnell experience last night, Brandon, which never a good thing against the Knicks.
McConnell be out there cooking everybody. Like, that dude is an assassin, man. The second game of the back-to-back, that's tonight. Got the 76ers. Last one before the All-Star break. Check this out. The Knicks lost 9 of 11, then they flipped around and then won 9 of 11. So would you say that Pacers loss made tonight a must-win in terms of the vibes of the fan base?
Didn't make it a must-win for tonight. I mean, let's look at the standings right here. When you look at where the Knicks are currently right now, they are still third now. They dropped down to being third because they lost that game last night. So they're a half a game behind Boston. Is it a must-win? I don't think it's a must-win, but you definitely want to bounce back and end on a good note before you go into the break so that way you have something to work off of. That's why yesterday was more important. It's harder to win when you played when 3 of your guys played 40+ minutes against an Indiana team that just loves to constantly run the entire night. Now you got to go face the Philadelphia 76ers, who have speed as well with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. And then on top of that, you got a bruiser in Joel Embiid, who likes to work the paint, loves to use his strength. Now you're working off being a tired team going against Philadelphia. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy battle against Philly, because they're also looking to come into this and trying to secure their positioning too. They're teetering on that line, Brandon, from being, a playoff team and a play-in team. This is going to be a tough one for the Knicks. So while I'm not saying it's a must-win game, they should want to go out there and just end on a high note, because look, even after the All-Star break, they still got enough chance to secure that second spot in the Eastern Conference, but you can't be giving up easy games like against the Pacers, man.
All right, lastly, before I let you go, man, again, we're going into the All-Star break. Tom Thibodeau, Mike Brown, they are going to be compared, all throughout this season. The Knicks, 34-20 going into the break, third in the East. How would you rate Mike Brown so far this season going into the All-Star break?
I'd give him a B. I think you've seen on good nights the principles that he wants to instill in this team, where you're seeing that good ball movement. They're flying around the court. You have multiple initiators. When the defense is humming, when we saw for those 9 wins, it really is humming. Everybody's bought in. Help defense is right there. I thought Brunson and Cat have really improved defensively throughout that 9-game stretch, and really helping the guys secure a lot of those wins. So I got to give it a B, but I can't give it any higher right now, just because games like last night, where you look against the Indiana Pacers, and I'm looking at the fourth quarter and overtime, I don't know why we decided to go hero ball with Jalen Brunson instead of getting easy looks with karl-Anthony Towns against Potter. So you get nights like this where you're scratching your head saying, Mike Brown, what are we doing here? And even, you have Pascal Siakam. You can't have Josh Hart guarding Pascal Siakam. We've seen it time and time again where Siakam could just shoot over any smaller defender in front of him. Yes, Josh Hart is strong. Yes, Josh Hart is a dog, but we got to match size with size, and I thought it was a good opportunity. Instead of starting Landry Shamet, who's playing well, should have gone with Mohamed Diawara last night to match the size of Pascal Siakam. So I'll give him a B, just because I feel like some of the rotations, some of just the late game execution has been a little shaky, especially last night's game against the Pacers, and that's something that he can work on and get this team ready for when you're thinking about that deep postseason run.
Alex, appreciate you, man. I would say enjoy the All-Star break, but you guys at Knicks Fan TV, y'all always working, man. # always working. Appreciate you, bro.
You're always working too, my man. Appreciate you as always.
Keep that light bill paid.